Too late. Anyway, welcome to Mary Wieden You. Happy IRS Day. We'll talk about that later on. I feel sorry for people who work for the Internal Revenue Service and the U.S. Postal Service because this is not a happy day for them, I don't think. In a couple minutes here, you're going to meet some folks who are in a wonderful opera, and I'm so glad there's more than one performance of it. The opera is the Magic Flute. Is in German, die Zauberflöte, right? We know how to say that. And they're going to be on Saturday, the 26th of April. You also, that's going to be at MC, and you're also going to go to Natchez, aren't you?
Correct.
It's going to be at Natchez, so you'll get a couple chances to see it. I just think it's going to be an absolutely wonderful production. And so you got to meet a couple people. They are from here, and they sing, and they're fabulous at it. They are Annalee Crawford Quarles and John Christopher Adams, and look here, our cultural ambassador to the shows, Mr. Lynn Wentworth.
That is correct.
Because, well, I never used to do anything like this. It's like, I don't do that. I do politics and stuff like that. But then I decided, I don't know, some time ago that, there's a whole lot out there that we need to know about. Mm-hmm. And so he brings us like the opera, the symphony, the new stage. Right?
No, I'm not.
You don't do new stage?
I'm opera and ballet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But whatever. But I do those things, and it's so much fun. And this is such a wonderful story, and I wish that you two would tell the story and your characters. I'm going to start with you, Anna. I'll just go Anna, and then I'll do John. So what's your part in this play, or in this opera?
Yes, I play the third spirit. So there are three little spirits that kind of help guide the main characters that are on the important quest along their way throughout the opera. And we're like just these good little lighthearted. Our stage director has us doing a lot of funny.
Is that Carol?
Yes, Carol Freeman.
Carol Freeman, who is extremely accomplished. I mean, this guy has been all over the country,
Yes, he has.
Probably all over the world.
Yeah, he is in Italy usually every summer directing an opera.
Yeah, and
there.
he's from here and lives here. And I met him I had to do some PT in 23, a couple of years ago. And I met him there, and that's who he is. But anyway, so he's got you all over the place, huh?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, we get to run
Dancing
around
and
stage.
singing?
Yes, a little bit of dancing. Dancing is not my gift.
Oh.
I like to I figured that out.
Oh, okay.
This is
I was
why
a
we
little
don't
bit
do-
behind in the steps yesterday.
This is why we didn't do musical theater. We'll do opera so we can park and
my
bark.
goodness.
Okay, John, do you sing, John?
I do sing.
And
I do sing.
You're going to do something for us here this morning? Maybe.
Let's see what the pollen will allow.
Oh, there is that. But anyway, but you're a spirit. Okay, this is by Mozart, folks, and it was his last work, and it debuted in Vienna, or also in German, Wien, in what was it, 1791, something like that. Yes, and it was
a great show. I was there.
and you said at the time
one of the best operas I've ever been to.
one of his best works, right? And unfortunately, he died like 3 months later, something like that. Whatever he had, I don't know what it is, but I mean, and this is considered really to be one of his best, if not the best. But anyway, so John, you're playing two people.
I am. I'm playing the first priest as well as the first armored man. And so the priest is kind of like her character. We're kind of guiding the men basically on the principles that it's going to take for them to make it through this journey. That's the part of the priest. And then as the armored man, because there are a lot of Masonic references as well. And so as they come into the Masonic temple and all of that, the armored men are basically kind of like the guards that kind of set the motion in the second act. And so I'm standing on, I think, an 8-foot platform, and I'm 6'7".
And I was going to say, you're not exactly diminutive.
And then I have this huge helmet on, so I think I'm about 15 feet tall being wheeled around stage. So it's perfect.
He is tall. He is very tall. A very tall guy. Well, tell the story, Lynn, exactly like what are they talking about? I mean, this isn't just, la 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 da da da. There's a whole story and everything that goes along with it. What is the story?
Kind of starts out, the Queen of the Night persuades Prince Tamino to rescue her daughter, Pamina, from captivity under the high priest Sarastro.
Is this anything like Mozart has ever done before, or can it be compared to anything any other composer has done?
I don't think
not anything that he's
because I'm kind of dumb about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's one main theme that we talk about a lot in opera when we're studying it. It's chiaroscuro, which is the balance between light and dark, and that's what this story is. It's the balance of light and dark. The queen representing the darkness. Everyone else was because I guess when they send him on this mission to rescue the daughter, they then realize that Sarastro has the best of intentions, and so it's kind of like they kind of turn on the queen, and it's just fanciful, and it's basically the triumph of good over evil, to kind of sum it up shortly.
Some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
I'm not a singer.
There's a very famous aria, and I don't know what it is. But if we heard a few notes, I'm not trying to goad you.
So it's
but
probably the Queen of the Night.
Is that the one?
One of the main.
Hum a few bars and we'll know it.
That's a tough one to do because she is in the stratosphere, and this morning apparently I'm a baritone.
I have a lower voice. I'll hum it lower. It's the
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not warmed up. It sounded bad. I'm sorry.
And it's that doggone pollen out there.
That one is
so bad.
that's the Hellerake. And she
Yes,
has another
yes.
one. And then you also have Dies Bildnis, which is sung by Tamino. Dies Bildnis ist bezaubernd schön, wenn auch kein Auge je gesehen, ich fühl es. This is not my role. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, you have that one as
Sounds
well. And just several that you're going to come out humming at the end of
Well,
it.
since you both you've taken courses in German anyway, understand the spoken words are going to be in English.
Correct.
So you don't have to, but the singing will be in German.
Singing
which is
will be in
interesting.
German,
I
yes.
wonder how would it sound if it were in Italian, I wonder. I mean,
Well,
who would
there are
know?
a lot of operas are translated into the different languages, and so you may see somebody that performs it in Italian completely, and it's this to me borders on being more like the light opera because you do have the dialogue, which most operas typically don't, and so it's a funny script, and I love the fact my character is very. He's very stoic in some parts, and then he gets to let loose a little bit. He's the sassier priest out of the two, and so it's a lot going on.
Yeah, all right.
He's a priest who is a sassy guy.
Yeah, he's a sassy
guy.
priest, yeah.
But your other guy you play, who's the other guy?
That's the first man in armor, and so it's just
Okay,
a very like I said, they roll me out on this 8-foot
Oh,
platform
you don't
with
t-
these
you
big
don't-
horns, and
you don't
and so
say-
I don't have to move at all. I get to stand still, and that's my comfort zone in opera.
Well, this I don't know, Lance, if you can get this. I didn't tell you about this either, but this is like the billboard of it. Is that your guy over here? No?
That, I do believe that is Tamino or Papageno, one of the two. But that's not my character.
And
but
this is what's her name?
that should be the Queen of the Night.
Oh, that one up there on the top.
Or is that Pamina?
That's probably Pamine.
Yeah, it's so hard to say.
Tamino and whatever her name is. This interesting that they rhyme, but
Tamino, Pamina, and then Papageno and Papagena are the two.
oh,
So Mary,
The good old masculine,
Mozart.
feminine, and neutral.
Yeah.
it was several years ago. We had an opera that we were doing with, I think, the University of South Alabama, and there were 3 groups. Well, South Alabama dropped out about 6 weeks before we were going to do the production. So Jay Dean, the artistic director, got with Carol, and they came up with a quick plan and called it The Magic of Opera. And we did arias from like 10 different operas. And Carol was the director, and Jay called me and he said, "Do you have a ringmaster's costume?" I said, "Jay, in fact, I do."
it's funny you should ask.
John Christopher, we get down there, and I was just butchering all the names of the characters in the aria. So Jay made a phonetic alphabet for me and sat with me until I could just make a fool of myself during the show.
A lot of people need that. Like in news, I always have to say that's my main place of information. But well, that was
Jay,
interesting.
Carol's amazing.
He's my roommate in Natchez, and I'm telling y'all that man, he never turns it off. I've never seen
Really?
anybody. He and Jay, they work so well together because I don't think either one of them sleeps. I know, but I'm gonna have my nap. I have to have my nap, and so they don't turn it off. They are the most artistic men that I think I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So it's just been great fun.
Do you two know each other? I mean, since you're both from around here, do you know each other from before or other productions?
We just met.
Just met. I helped her navigate the parking lots outside.
I was in the wrong parking lot. I had to drive back over, but he helped me. I called him. I was like, "Help!"
Yeah, we just met there. But
me.
there's that connection from Mississippi College. So I feel like I know everybody that's ever gone to Mississippi College.
Oh yeah, it's a great school.
It really
is. One of the most famous, I call him the most famous professors, comes on this show, and he does some other ones on this station too. He's in politics and history, Dr. Glenn Antizzo, and we talk about war and Ukraine, and then we talk about elections and stuff over here. But yeah, it's fascinating. I got onto him because. To do the show because some years ago, well, about 3.5 years ago, he said that his students, and they were like freshmen, sophomores, they were interested in Ukraine and what was going to be happening. It was before the war, and I thought, if kids at college in Mississippi want to know about Ukraine, that's worth our talking about, because it does hit home to a lot of people. Like, wow. Anyway, so you have a great school, and so you're going to perform on the 26th there, and you got another performance because this is how many people are in the cast anyway? It must be huge.
Gosh, I'm thinking there are 20 in the chorus, and then I want to say there are 15 or 16 principals. So. I think we're right at 41 people for the show, which is sometimes that's actually considered a small show. Yeah, I've done some much bigger works by Wagner.
Which had 100 or so people in it.
Yeah, casts of thousands in some of these shows.
Do we do that here? Do we have such big productions here?
We did.
Because of Thalia?
Turandot or Turandot was the last big opera that we do, and you can pronounce it either way.
Exactly, I was going to say. Because, he kept saying Turandot, and I'm like, it's Turandot, is it? And so then I looked it up, and he was right.
It's both.
Of course he knows.
Well, I think that the first major opera I did with Opera Mississippi, I guess that would have been, I was still in undergrad, so this was before 2006, was Aida. So we were doing huge works like that at that time.
Wow.
So, but as with everything, I think everything is kind of condensed a little bit smaller through COVID and everything else.
79th season of Opera Mississippi.
79th season.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Wow.
We'll talk about the costumes.
Pardon?
Just a bit.
Yes,
talk
please
about
do.
The costumes.
Yeah, they look like they must be lavish.
If you look on the Wikipedia site, they're started out being fabulous, and they've always been fabulous. But Carol has designed new costumes, and I'm not sure who made them, but it's a group in Ohio. I've seen photos of them. They are unbelievable.
So, Anne, what's your costume? What does it look like?
My costume, I love my costume. So I have wings over my chest, and then I have big wings behind me. So we're supposed to be the little ethereal beings. And there's also an Egyptian theme because the gods in the opera are Isis and Osiris. Isis and
Osiris.
No, I say Osiris, but Isis and Osiris. But anyway. Anyway, but so that's what yours is.
Yes, and I have some silver. I have a lot of silver colors and a little tunic skirt thing. We're supposed to be boys. Little spirit boys is what we're supposed to be. So we have to practice our walking like boys and sneaking around like little boys. But yeah,
that's cute.
I love my costume.
And that's cool. What are yours, John? What are your? Well, of course, we know you're going to be, the big man who doesn't say anything, and then you're going to be
the first priest costume. I got to do my fitting on Saturday. There's kind of a white robe, so I look all heavenly, but then it is dotted with these beautiful turquoise stones and this big wrap, and then it has a leopard print scarf that's kind of to the back of it now. And I don't know if you can see this. This is my armored man costume, so that shows you the platform. And
I'll tell you what. If some way we can get that.
Where do I need to?
I don't know. Lance, what do you suggest?
Can you see it, Lance?
Turn it around toward Mary.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can zoom in.
Wow, that's
and so it's usually I'm on this huge platform. There'll be somebody under me pushing me around, so all of that will have fabric wrapped around it.
Where's your head going to be? Up
my
at the
head
top?
is in that mask.
Yeah.
It's
keep it right there.
Gotta hit it again.
I'm sorry. Did it go off?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it was. It was.
What is this again?
This is my costume as the
That's your
armored
costume.
man. Yes,
Okay.
Armored man.
This is just the sketch of it. So we haven't finalized everything, but he literally
Thanks,
has to
Lance.
sing in this huge
Live
like
radio.
foam helmet. I felt like I was on The Masked Singer for a minute, and you can't imagine what those acoustics are like when you're hearing that much of yourself that close to you. Like that's not a pretty
Weird.
sound.
That would be kind of odd.
But yeah, the costumes are exquisite. The costumer, oh Lord, I just forgot her name, Melanie Mortimer. She actually stayed with me on Saturday night here in town. She is a brilliant mind.
Where's she from?
She is from Ohio.
Oh.
Ohio. So we have connections because I lived in Cincinnati for 6 years. So she stayed with me. She stayed with me Saturday night, and it was just we had breakfast Sunday morning. It was just wonderful.
That was nice.
Yeah,
that was
just
nice.
wonderful.
Well, it's called the Magic Flute. Well, I haven't heard about the flute. So, Lynn, you want to talk about the flute and who's got the? Wait, Anna, somebody's got the flute and does something with it.
Okay, so the flute, it helps protect Tamino and Pamina during the trials. So he plays the magic flute, and it basically helps them get through trials of
Why are they on
fire
oh.
and water.
Oh,
it's
okay.
part of their quest. He has to go on a noble quest, basically, at the beginning to save Pamina. But
What is her problem to begin with? Where is she? Is she
So
stuck
her
someplace?
mother is the evil queen of the night,
okay.
and so
That explains it
he
all.
thinks he's going to rescue her from Sarastra, but it turns out they're actually rescuing her from the queen. So,
Okay.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
lots of plot twists.
A
Yes.
lot
It's
of
a big
plot
plot
twists.
But
twist.
does he flick it, or does he hold it? You know, what does he do with the flute? And who is the person who does that? By the way, the guy. Who's the character?
Tamino.
Tamino's the guy.
Tamino.
Okay, and does he wave it around or flick it or?
Now, you'll
What does he
hear
do
in the
with it?
orchestration, you'll hear different flute riffs as he's supposed to be be
he's-
playing.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
And he really is. Does the actor actually play the flute, or is it?
I haven't staged that part, so I'm not sure if he's going to actually play. And I know I can't play any instruments other than the piano. So
Someone in the orchestra will be playing
Yeah.
the flute.
That's
Oh,
what
okay.
He's
Yeah.
doing the Milli Vanilli version.
Yes, that's it. I like that reference. Good. I
yeah,
like
really.
that.
Whatever happened, Millie? Well, who's the orchestra, by the way? Are they ours? You know, or are they?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they are
Mississippi
from
Symphony
I
Orchestra.
think we're
Yeah.
using a
you
much
know,
stripped down orchestra. Mhm.
Dr. Dean, Jay Dean, ran the music. I'll just say the music department at Southern for years. He has no ego. He never stops working, so he's real easy to work with. And let's see, some of the people he brought here.
Hold
Renee
the thought.
Fleming.
You got to hold the thought because that's music going into a break. But there you go. Is that familiar music? Very good. Thanks,
is.
Lance.
All right.
Good
We'll
choice.
take a break. Come back with more of Die Zauberflöte and its people.
I pulled this out of your archives. This is
very
the
nice.
Mary Wieden archives from 1989.
Nice.
I wasn't here.
I know, but it said last time it was played was 89. So
Yeah.
it's been before that. But
Quando
I was doing news.
no, it just throws that number up there. If it hadn't been played in a while.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, my voice isn't what it once was. But
I thought that was you singing it. Yeah.
oh, well, I kind of gave that up. Wow. And decided to do the helicopter. We were talking just in the break about the space flight yesterday. The women who went up to space for a little bit and came back down. I'm the only one sitting in here who wants to do that. Do you want to do that, Lance? Would you do that? Go up
No,
for a
yeah,
little bit
definitely.
of time?
I want to do
think
like
it'd be
that
cool.
Felix Baumgartner guy that went up in the the little pod above the Earth. He got into space and then he parachuted out and parachuted back through the atmosphere
What?
and then pulled it. Yeah, it was a Red Bull stunt maybe 7-8 years ago. It was amazing.
I missed it. You mean he
Felix
actually did
Baumgartner.
that?
Yeah.
He actually did that?
Yeah, he jumped out of the pod in outer space, had a
What an
spacesuit
idiot.
on, dove
So
through.
wonder didn't burn up.
He had on a suit of some sort.
No, the parachute.
See?
No, he
This
didn't
is what
pull
I'm
the chute
talking
above the
about.
earth. He
he
pulled the
just-
chute and once. Yeah, he just beeline through all that.
See?
It was something else.
Oh no!
Like Evel
To me, it
Knievel.
would be like
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. It would be like sort of like a auto rotation exercise in the helicopter, but sort of higher up than
That's
that.
okay. I'll just let opera take me to new heights. I'll stay on the ground.
Yeah, Mary used to be the helicopter lady.
Yeah, I did.
nice.
Yeah, I did helicopter. Mary Wieden, Skycopter 3. That was me doing that. I did it for a
nice.
number of years. And I'm acrophobic, but But in the helicopter, you have a floor that you sit on. So,
Yeah.
it's not like standing up on like the movie Vertigo, or whatever, standing on a stairway and looking down. It's not like that at all. But anyway, back to I've got the folks who are, or some of the folks who are in. So there are 40 of them in the Magic Flute. It's going to play on the 25th of April.
26.
26th of April. I'm sorry, it's a Saturday night at the Swore Auditorium at Nelson Hall, Mississippi College.
Right.
Yeah. And what's the seating capacity? Is it pretty good? Must be pretty
800.
good.
Yeah, I wanna say
oh,
that's around
pretty
800.
good.
Yeah.
800.
That's pretty good. And I think that's wonderful. And you're also going to play in Natchez. When is that coming up?
That is going to be on the 2nd of May, Friday
Because
night.
the Magic Flute by Mozart, if you haven't heard, it was his last work, and he died about 3 months after it debuted in Vienna in 1791 in a district of Vienna called Wieden, spelled the same way. I do mine. I'm just blown over by discovering all this the other day. But yeah, wir in Wieden, in Wien is how you say Vienna in auf Deutsch. Well, so and you two, I have got two people, Annalee Crawford Quarles and John Christopher Adams. They are members of the cast, and they're both native Mississippians and still live right here. And isn't that wonderful? And Lynn Wentworth is here. He is our cultural ambassador to the program. And as we were going out, we were talking about musicians. Who are all the musicians who are? Because you got to have. This is a big deal. How many in
the orchestra, John Christopher?
I don't know the last count because it started out much larger and then we kind of had to compress and compress because there are space issues because the two venues are so vastly different. So you kind of have to make a few cuts to make things fit in both venues. So it's a smaller ensemble than we typically would see with an opera.
But you'll never know it from an audience point of view. We won't know. We wouldn't know a
He's so
thing.
good. He can create with what he has.
Oh yeah.
He was telling me once he can make it sound like a full orchestra with about 13 musicians.
Wow. Wow.
Absolutely.
He just knows.
And are all the
so well.
musicians, are they all locals too? Or pretty much?
I believe most of them are from the
Mississippi,
symphony here.
yeah.
There's one guy, Richard Chamkin, who's from New York, and he's been with all our productions. He's a pianist, but he also scores the music for the orchestra.
Tell about the guy who plays the organ, because when you said this huge Hammond organ, and that he's going to play, and I thought that sounds familiar because that's what the guys were here talking about for the Township Jazz Festival. It was this huge, and Raphael was a little worried about getting it up on the stage, but he did. So what do you know about that?
So I don't know that
Tyler?
he's playing the opera for. I don't know if he's playing the organ for
No,
this,
he's
but
not.
that's Tyler Kemp. He's actually one of our rehearsal pianists,
Oh,
and I've
okay. Oh,
collaborated
wow.
with him many times. He's on staff at Mississippi College, accompanist, and I think he teaches
He
a couple.
accompanies
These are both MC people too.
Yes,
yeah, both of them.
Go
Yeah,
Tyler.
both are. That's so cool.
Tyler's wife is the concert mistress
Yes.
of the
is?
symphony.
Tyler's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They are just brilliant musicians.
They
Tyler and I
are.
actually came through Mississippi College at the same time. He looks way younger than me, but we won't talk about that.
No, we don't do that. We never discuss things. Absolutely, we don't discuss things like that. And the sets. How many sets do you have? Set changes and.
I believe it is just the one set. And what was the man's name? I'm sorry. I
Wes
forgot.
Hansen.
Wes Hansen built those.
He's from here.
It is
No,
quite.
he's from L.A., but he lives in
But he-
Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It is. It's going to be so visually pleasing to the eye. There's all
Yes.
kinds of columns and things that move around.
What will we see? Columns and color? Lighting? Is lighting a big deal?
This is probably one of the brightest shows that I've been a part of because you have one of the characters that is a bird catcher, and so it's just colorful. It's just it's really going to be a magical night. Great, perfect for families. I think it'll be a great
ethereal,
opera.
spiritual, intriguing, and the music is. Even if you've never heard any opera music, you don't even have to know what they're saying. It is unbelievably good.
It is.
It's interesting that it's, I said earlier that the speaking parts are in English, but the music is in German, and I wonder how those. Does this ever perform with Italian singers? Is that ever possible? I mean, Mozart did it, and I'm sure he auf Deutsch, yeah. But I can't help it because I've been speaking it to myself and to my dog, rehearsing it. Whose Name ist Heidi? Yeah.
Nice.
But so, how does it translate, and how does it cross over to do, to do the Zauberflöte, Magic Flute? From German to English, Italian. Does it work?
So a lot of operas are translated in that way, and it's so crazy because when we're doing our score studies, when we first start learning these roles, and we go through and we do word for word translation. So a lot of people are translating to whatever their native language is anyway, so that way they know exactly what they're saying. But a lot of operas are performed in other languages as well. I know there is an English version of this show. I'm sure there's an Italian version as well, probably even French.
Do you both travel around in your profession? to theaters around wherever?
I used to. I'm now based here in Pearl as well as Gadsden, Alabama. So I perform a lot with the community theater there, community theater here. I'm not so much doing the professional singing anymore because it was. I was traveling about 11 months out of the year, so it got a bit tiring. So I decided let's set up roots back home in Mississippi. So yeah, not as much anymore.
And what about you, Anna?
I'm trying to get into it, kind of slowly dip my toes into the water of the performance world because, I recently traveled to Iowa to do the Met competition. I got an encouragement award for that. So I've done a little bit. I'm about to go to Philly to do an opera workshop for Rusalka.
Nice.
Going to do Jerzy Baba for that. It's in Czech. That's a Czechoslovakian
Yes.
opera by Dvorak. But anyway, so I'm doing the German, and then I'm about to do Elijah with MC Singers. It's an oratorio. But that's here. So I'm traveling some a little bit, but I'm not doing anything.
It
constantly
really is a
yet.
great life, but it is, like I said, I was 11 months out of the year, and the last trip I took, we performed in Israel, so that's before everything happened there. So, it's kind of slowed down a little bit as much, with the international travel. I did a lot of tours doing Porgy and Bess. With a company based out of New York Harlem Productions. So I toured with them 4 or 5 seasons. Got to see all parts of the world. It was wonderful.
Wow.
But like I said, it gets a bit tiring. So it's nice to come home to Mississippi at a little bit slower pace.
Well, you speak a plethora of languages. What all do you speak?
As a part of my
English,
degree, I had to learn French, Spanish, Italian, and German. And as she said, we also do Czech, we do Russian, so we have to know a little bit of everything. So when I was touring the world, it's like you'd come downstairs in the hotel like, I don't remember what language I'm supposed to speak here. Which dictionary do I need?
How many languages do you speak, Anna?
So I learned for my degree, I learned French, German, and I took a lot of languages in high school, but I would definitely have to bring my little dictionary with me to Germany.
You have to.
Wow. A few years ago, when Trump was in office before, Melania had to say the Our Father on some international, and she speaks, I don't know how many languages, a bundle of them. And it was some large gathering, and she read the Our Father. And somebody said, that's awful, she had to read it. Well, when you're on the international stage and you speak all these different languages, and this one is not your native language, you better have something. I'd be up there reading it, and
absolutely.
exactly.
I have to have it in the coffee shop because I will order gasoline thinking I'm ordering coffee.
Oops, I did the wrong one. But because your mind, and when you're nervous,
absolutely.
then you can really feel the whole thing.
Well, I get nervous having to sing the Star Spangled Banner sometimes, and it's in my native language, but it's because we go on autopilot when we're singing sometimes, and you forget. You can lose track of where you are in it. So that's one of the hardest pieces ever to sing for musicians.
It is.
And so I understand, even in your native language, sometimes you can get a little bit confused. So you definitely need support.
And Czech, by the way, Czech is a lot like German, I think, isn't it?
It's more close to Russian to me.
It is, but it has.
It's a different.
I didn't know that a human could put so many consonants together and say them all.
Really?
Oh my! It is the hardest language that I have ever tried to sing in.
Really? Worse than Russian?
Yes.
Whoa.
I've done some Russian too. I love singing in Russian, but the Czech is it's a little bit brighter. So the vowels are a brighter color, but it's also just very a lot of sounds in the back of the throat, and then a lot of consonants is smushed together.
Yeah.
It's fun though. Once you get the hang of it, it's like wow.
Well, I think German for me, which this one is in, is a little bit more difficult because you have to think so much differently about the consonants that you're using, as like the R's and the ich laut and the ach laut, and how all that has to be further back, and we're so used to putting everything so far forward.
Yes.
So it takes some thought. It really
And don't
does.
forget your umlauts.
Umlaut, exactly.
You know what we're talking about. Lynn, do you speak German at all? Umlauts are the two little dots. Like in Austria, it's Österreich. That's how you say Austria in German. And
I
this is
speak Spanish and a little bit of broken English.
Well, and that's the thing about German. Certain symbols will change the pronunciation of that vowel, and so you know when it comes to the U, it's like it's either an E more closer to an E or and so you're trying to make sure that you know where you're supposed to go. And I will mess it up. Mine is a Southern German. That's what we'll call it.
Southern German. Oh, that's pretty cool.
We had to get him to sing.
Oh goodness.
Well, he did a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
You can do a few more notes with it if you want to throw a little German notes in there. And you can do a duet if you wish. But anyway,
it's my role of the armored man is probably one of the heavier roles in the opera, and I mean it is just full out blow and go singing. So I'd hate to ruin your microphones right now, but it is.
You turn your back and the mic will pick it up. That's what I've done.
Will
if I have to, you can hear. We can still hear it.
Let's
if you
see
can do it. We can still hear it.
Welche wandelt diese Straße voll Beschwerden? Okay.
Woo!
That
was great. Did we bust any needles?
I heard a little bit of rattling.
Oh, wonderful. Wow.
No, he did great. He knew to turn away from the mic.
Yeah, I suggested
Those
that he
guys
do
are
that.
pros,
Yeah.
man.
Well, I've done it because
I wasn't worried for a second.
Yes,
There you go.
I figured it would sound good that way because you could hear it full. And then, there have been times when I've done that. I'll go like this sometimes if I'm, if I have to talk.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we at the end of the segment? Listen, y'all, thank you so
goodness.
much. It's been so much fun.
you.
Really enjoyed you both. I'm going to spend one segment with the audience on IRS Day. Oh, it was such fun. And then you all have a wonderful, wonderful production on April 26th at MC. Quick website.
OperaMS.org.
OperaMS.org.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes.
Break a leg.
Thank you so
See
much.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Opera music, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's Johnny Cash right there, too.
He sounds.
This is really old. No, this is a really old one. Yeah.
No, but he was old, or his voice. I mean,
No, he was. I think when he recorded this one, it was, man, he was on up there. It was
Really?
like a, kind of a.
it sounds subdued and.
Yeah, no, it was really laid back. But yeah, no.
Wow.
Thank you for having that wonderful Mary Wieden opera song, and also had my
Why you did?
Barbara of Seville, which I'll play at any time, man.
Well, the thing of it was, the other night I was just looking ahead, and I'm looking, for the week, knew we were doing this, and it said that this debuted in a district of Vienna in 1791 called Wieden, W-I-E-D-N. I'm like, what?
Those are your people.
What? Well, my peeps are all from here, but so then I looked this up. This is astounding, and I also sent you a picture of the coat of arms. Did you see that? We have a coat of arms, and it looks like that tree looks to me like Virginia creeper. Oh, terrible stuff. And then there's the crown, and then the other things. And I looked up. I tried to just get a synopsis of what that meant, but it was this long dissertation in big German words. I mean, it would take me a month to translate it, so I don't have a translation of what exactly it means. But about Wieden, pronunciation Wieden, of course. It's the 4th municipal district of Vienna, Austria. It'd be like a ward. We have like wards here for our council people, I guess. It's near the center of Vienna, established as a district in 1850. Its borders were later changed, though. Wieden is a small region near the city center, and after World War II, Wieden was a part of the Soviet sector of Vienna for 10 years. I was like, what? My parents, why didn't they tell me about this? Maybe they did, and I forgot about it.
I put the crest up, so
Yes.
you've got the 3 people in the bottom. It looks like a king, a knight, and a wise man. This little halo ring. Beautiful crown, and then
The flag.
and then the tree.
In the tree.
Not sure what tree that is.
Well,
but it
that's
looks
the tree that looks the Virginia creeper tree.
Yeah, so that's when you were talking about.
Oh, yes. But who knows what it means. But this whole story of Wieden was first recorded, listen to this, in 1137. This is how the name Wieden is. 1137. It's the oldest Vorstadt, which means like city, in Vienna. The main street, which is Wiedener Hauptstraße, that's a good word for you. Main Street is certainly even older, and they don't have potholes, they don't have stuff like that at all. The district was the site of the former summer royal residence, which was completed under Ferdinand II and expanded many times until Maria Theresa, whoever she was, sold it to the Jesuits. Today, that's Theresanarium, a prestigious private boarding school now, while the Diplomatic Academy of Vienna resides in a wing of the building. In the beginning of the 18th century, the development of Wieden as a suburb began, so you can call it a suburb too. Many palaces and other buildings were built. 2 small Vorstädte, in the area of the present 4th district was Hungelbrunn und Schambergergrund. Well, it means kind of meaningless there. These three areas, along with a number of others, were incorporated into the city of Vienna as the 4th District in 1850. Wow. Then the so-called place called the Freihaus, built in 1700. It was the largest apartment building, was located there, but it deteriorated by 1970. Okay, it was built in 1700, lasted until 1970. The name's been rehabilitated in recent years to give an identity to local bars, restaurants, and independent retailers. And also I found, if I've got it here on this computer, wouldn't you know, I can't find what I was looking for. There was a great, wonderful thing. Oh, maybe it's over on this one, about Wieden. Where is it? Nah, I've lost it. It talks about just what a beautiful place it is anyway to visit. It has lots of things cultural, and they have like hip bars as well as regular bars, more formal things like that. So it's like a whole thing. Wieden. If you're ever in Vienna, go to Wieden. So when I looked it up this morning to I was talking to a friend of mine, and she goes, "Well, I never heard of that," or something like that. Well, then I looked up the name Wieden and found that there's a town in southwestern Germany called Wieden. Why did we not know this? Having lived over there as military brats. But anyway. So, everybody, have you paid your taxes? Lance, did you pay your taxes yet?
No, I would be hoping to get some back, So instead of
you hadn't filed? You didn't file yet?
No, man.
Why? Well, when you go to jail, you let us know what it's like.
Let you know what it's
debtor's prison or whatever it is.
I don't owe them anything, trust me. Yeah.
No, tell me about it. I know that. They take enough of it out, don't they? But I did it. I have some different people that are doing it. They started last year. I had a guy who did it for years and years, and at the toward the end of it last year, he goes, "Well, I'm handing you over to some new people because I'm going to retire from this business and go live my life." Oh, okay. So I thought, well, I better be, try to be on top of things this year because I'm always late because I hate to do it. Two things I despise: taxes and insurance. Ugh. They're both so burdensome, if you ask me. And so this year, but I didn't get my stuff to them, and I got it last week. I thought I had another whole week to go. And oh, no. So I took it to them, I guess, that Monday, and they had it ready for me. A couple of days later, like, well, that was a shock. And how wonderful. I said, you must have somebody who takes care of late filers. They said, well, you're not unusual. There are a lot of people like you who do that. So that's all taken care of, thank goodness. But I feel very sorry for people who work at the IRS. And people who work for the Postal Service. It's got to be absolutely brutal, don't you think?
I've tried to visit with I've had the same mail person for years, and she works like 5 or 6 days a week. And I was trying to visit with her the other day, about the worries potentially, with some of the cutbacks and things like that, because I know she takes every shift she can get possibly, but then you get to tax time and the mail, it just blows up.
Yeah.
I imagine they have to make more than one trip sometimes.
I would imagine, yes.
Get everything done.
Yeah, and the post office will be open until, I didn't even look this up, but they're always open until late because, probably till midnight so they can get the stamp on there because there are people who, they wait till the very last minute to do that kind of stuff. I've often wondered, I can't do it myself, the taxes. I cannot do it myself, just the way that goes. But the e-filers, though, they just get it right in there. Oh, I was going to look and see if there was any news other than I accidentally hit a cartoon. I don't want to do that. Oops, I don't want to do that. So I want to know what's going on in the world. I see that Harvard has decided that they don't want to take part in any cutbacks of any stuff from government. Yeah. We don't want to do that. Oh, we don't want to get rid of DEI and stuff like that. Oh, okay, well then we give them billions of dollars. Why do we give all that money to private schools anyway? Billions of dollars to Harvard? What for? And so they're going to get their money cut. Well, okay, fine. You don't want to do it? Don't do what we tell you to do. You just get along without us. Auf Wiedersehen.
They one of the reports was they kind of balked severely at the idea that Trump would he would put his people in charge, so to speak, of looking over the disbursement of funds and potentially like a steering committee for those things. And they were like, nope, not doing it. So I'm like you, if you don't want to play the game as been dictated to you by the government, then you probably ought not get all that money.
Yeah, really, that was 82 million or something? Or billion. Yeah, it was B-boy billion.
It's a lot of money.
There was a heck of a lot of money.
Plus, they have the largest endowment out of any
Yeah,
private or public
yeah.
school in the country.
Yes.
And yet you're getting billions from the taxpayer for some reason. Not quite sure.
And
But a lot of that is for hospitals, I think. Some of it is.
Well, I mean, that's what they will lose.
Or at least that's what they
people
tell
will-
you.
Yeah, well, people will. Yeah, what they tell you exactly. But the the beneficiaries will lose from it. But oh well, they've already frozen $2.2 billion in grants. That's it for Harvard. I just found this out. And Hochul, what's her name? The crazy woman from New York.
Kathy Hochul?
Kathy Hochul, yeah, absolutely despicable to cut funding to schools where anti-Semitism is rampant. Well, okay, I'm sure some of it would have gone for that, but they don't want to do it. They don't have to do it. And I'm getting sick and tired, by the way, of hearing about this guy, this MS-13 guy, who accidentally sent down to the cool prison in San Salvador. Is that where it is? El Salvador. El Salvador,
so, yeah.
yes. Don't know my prisons very well, but I'm tired of hearing about that. We're spending an awful lot of money on some guy who's, I'm sorry to say, sounds like a wandering shred of humanity, and that's an old expression that somebody used to use, shred of humanity. You know who used to say that? The big man. Rush Limbaugh. He used to call awful people were wandering shreds of humanity.
He's like the hanging shard of the paper.
Yes, and I mean, maybe he and the president of El Salvador said, and I saw him say this in the White House. No, I can't go in there and pull somebody out of there. I can't do that. Oh, okay, good. Tell that to the Supreme Court then, and all these other people. And if these people would just shut up and leave well enough alone, we'd be fine. Yeah, but
you break in, you pay the price.
Yes,
but it is. I mean, for all of us normal folks out there, if we go breaking into stuff, probably going to get in trouble, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess if you're illegal and jump fences and you want people to feel sorry for you and you kill folks and rape people, and we're supposed to be able to feel sorry for you because you didn't grow up with air conditioner or something. It's not my problem, honestly. Go home.
Speaking of which, I think it's mighty odd that we're having these outbreaks of measles. Do you think
where that came from?
You can imagine. I mean, some
polio on the rise, measles on the rise,
tuberculosis. Yeah.
And you go, where did that come from?
How can that be? I mean, why aren't they saying that? Oh, I know.
Because that's not politically correct
but
anymore.
We've gotten rid of that kind of stuff, haven't we?
Let's hope so.
Haven't we done enough of damage with wokeness?
You need Ipecac to get rid of all that. Just keep throwing it up, America. Let's get it out.
Honestly, I get so sick of it. And I'm tired of hearing the voice of. What's that? Oh, Sanders, the old boy Sanders. Sanders. Sick of him. And he goes 1, 2, 3. When he waves his hand, 1, 2, 3. It's like this. He talks punctuated 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Talks like this. And do you know why he did not become a candidate? And this is validated by Juan Williams, who is a very liberal commentator. During the oh crap, it's time to go. Well, he didn't get it because he didn't have a good relationship with blacks, and so they needed somebody good, so they picked Joe Biden, who went to Representative Clyburn and said, essentially, stick with me, I'll take care of your people, and that was it. So old Bernie Sanders is out there still trying to be president. I don't want to hear from him, I don't want to hear from AOC, and I don't want to hear from that other woman who's so poisonous, whatever her name is.
Jasmine Crockett.
I don't want to hear from her. Tired of that stuff. Go find something else to do. So I think now that we're into the bushwhacking season, I'm into bushwhacking number 1, episode number 1. Anyway, everybody. So listen, we won't be here on Friday. Have a happy Easter, and I'll see you next week.